Picture the Sahara Desert. Endless waves of sand, scorching sun, a place where life seems to struggle to exist. But what if I told you that beneath these very dunes lies the story of a lost empire, a civilization that not only survived, but thrived in one of the harshest environments on Earth? This is the story of the Garamantes, the masters of the desert, who built a world where no one thought it possible. For centuries, their existence was little more than a whisper, a footnote in the writings of ancient historians like Herodotus. He described them as a powerful people who rode four-horse chariots, hunting their enemies across the vast desert. For a long time, many scholars dismissed these tales as myths, as exaggerated stories from a distant land. How could a sophisticated society flourish in the middle of the Sahara? Where would they find water? Where would they find food? The desert seemed to hold its secrets tight. But modern technology, like satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar, has peeled back the layers of sand and time, revealing a truth far more incredible than any legend. Let's travel back in time, over 2,000 years ago, to the Fezzan region of modern-day southern Libya. This area is now one of the most arid places on the planet. But back then, the Sahara was a slightly different place. It was still a desert, but it held a hidden treasure deep underground. Vast, ancient reservoirs of fossil water, trapped beneath the rock for millennia. The Garamantes discovered this secret. They understood that the key to life wasn't on the surface, but deep beneath it. And with this knowledge, they engineered one of the ancient world's most astonishing hydraulic systems. They dug thousands of underground canals, known as Sahara. These weren't just simple ditches. They were complex, gently sloping tunnels, sometimes stretching for miles, dug by hand through rock and sand. These tunnels tapped into the deep aquifers and channeled water, using only gravity, to their settlements and fields. Think about the sheer scale of this. It's estimated that the total length of their canal network was over 1,000 miles long. To maintain them, they dug vertical shafts every few dozen feet, allowing workers to descend and clear out any blockages. From the air, these shafts look like lines of dots stretching across the desert floor, the ghostly footprints of an ancient water system. This was engineering on a monumental scale, long before the Romans were famous for their aqueducts. With this constant, reliable supply of water, the Garamantes achieved the impossible. They turned the desert green. They cultivated wheat, barley, grapes, figs, and most importantly, date palms. These weren't just small garden plots. They were extensive agricultural oases, vibrant patches of green in a sea of gold. They created a surplus of food that could support a large, concentrated population. This agricultural wealth became the foundation of their empire. They had solved the fundamental problem of the desert, and this mastery gave them immense power. Their capital city, Garama, now called Jerma, was the heart of this desert kingdom. Far from a primitive settlement, Garama was a bustling metropolis. Archaeological excavations have revealed a city of stone and mud brick buildings, some several stories high. It had a royal palace, temples, workshops, and a dense population of thousands. It was a true urban center, a testament to their organization and prosperity. The Rama wasn't just an agricultural hub. It was a critical crossroads for trans-Saharan trade. The Garamantes controlled the most direct route, connecting the Mediterranean world with sub-Saharan Africa. Imagine the caravans, long lines of camels laden with goods, arriving at Garama after weeks of crossing the unforgiving desert. From the south came gold, ivory, exotic animals, and precious carnelian stones. From the north, Romang merchants brought wine, olive oil, glassware, and fine pottery. The Garamantes were the ultimate middlemen. They provided water, food, and security for these caravans, taxing the trade that passed through their territory. This trade made them incredibly wealthy and powerful, turning their isolated kingdom into a cosmopolitan center of commerce and culture. Roman goods found their way deep into the heart of Africa, and African goods appeared in the markets of Rome, all thanks to the Garamantes. Their society wasn't just made up of farmers and traders. They were also formidable warriors, just as Herodotus described. Their control of the trade routes required a strong military to protect the caravans from raiders and to enforce their authority over a vast territory. They had a distinct social structure, with a king at the top, a noble class, artisans, farmers, and, at the bottom, a large population of slaves. Many of these slaves were likely captured from their sub-Saharan neighbors and were put to work digging and maintaining the complex fogger system, the very lifeline of the empire. It's a darker aspect of their civilization, a reminder that their prosperity was built, in part, on the labor of others. For nearly 1,000 years, from around 500 BC to 500 AD, the Garamantian Empire flourished. They were a regional superpower, at times clashing with the Roman Empire on their northern frontier, at other times trading peacefully with them. They had created a sustainable, long-lasting civilization in a place that should have been uninhabitable. They had conquered the desert. But the desert is patient, and what it gives, it can also take away. The downfall of the Garamantes wasn't a single dramatic event. It was a slow, creeping decline, driven by the very resource that gave them life: water. The fossil water they were tapping into was a finite resource. It was ancient water, not being replenished by rainfall. Over centuries of intensive use, the water table began to drop. Their foggera had to be dug deeper and deeper, and eventually the aquifer simply ran dry. The lifeblood of their civilization was draining away. As their agricultural base weakened, their power began to wane. Around the same time, the Roman Empire, their main trading partner to the north, was in decline, disrupting the trade routes that had brought them so much wealth. New trade routes bypassing their territory began to emerge. The combination of environmental change and economic shifts was a fatal blow. Their green fields withered and turned back to sand. Their cities, once teeming with life, began to empty as people moved away in search of water. The desert slowly reclaimed what the Garamantes had built. Their great capital, Garama, was abandoned, and the winds began to bury their canals, their homes, and their temples under the dunes. For over 1,000 years, the Garamantian Empire was largely forgotten, swallowed by the sands of the Sahara. Their story became a myth. But today, thanks to the tireless work of archaeologists, their legacy is being rediscovered. The silent ruins and the faint outlines of their canals tell a powerful story of human ingenuity, resilience, and ambition. They show us that ancient peoples were capable of incredible feats of engineering and social organization. The story of the Garamantes is also a cautionary tale. It's a story about sustainability and the consequences of overexploiting a finite resource. They built a brilliant civilization on a foundation of ancient water, but when that water was gone, their world collapsed. It's a lesson that resonates powerfully today, as we face our own challenges with water scarcity and climate change. The Garamantes conquered the desert for 1,000 years, but in the end, the desert had the final say. Their empire may be gone, but its whispers remain, carried on the wind, a timeless reminder of the forgotten kingdom beneath the sand. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of this lost empire, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past. See you next time.